Welcome back to Monster Tamer, a 2D Pokemon-like RPG created Phaser 3. Previously, we worked on updating our battle scene to have our core logic for when our monsters can start to gain experience and level up. If you missed the previous videos, there'll be links in the video description to source code to this point, as well as complete source code for this video. There will also be a link to the previous videos if you'd like to catch up, so let's get started. So now that we have our core functionality we need in our battle scene and our monster classes to support gaining experience and letting the player know if we level up, now we need to dive into the core logic for determining how this will all work. And so in monster catching type games like Pokemon, there can be a variety of mathematical functions to do this based on a variety of stats. For example, you might just have a very simple function where it's cubic, where our monster will level up, need a certain amount of experience just based on their current level. There could be other ones where we add in other types based on their traits to calculate that experience. And so for this series, we're going to go ahead and keep it very simplistic and just do a simple function to calculate this experience. But this could easily be extended later by enhancing our level utils to pass in our monster details with however we want to determine this. And so for this series, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a very simple quadratic function where the amount of experience we need is going to be based on our monster's current level cube. And so what that is, that's just a very basic cubic function where we take our monster's level and we cube it. And so if we're at monster level 1, we just need 1 experience point to be at level 1. If we want to be at level 2, our monster needs a cumulative amount of experience that's equal to 8. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 would be 8, and then so on and so forth. And so based on those thresholds, we can look at our monster's current experience to determine what their current level actually should be. So as an example, if I want to be level 5, I need at least 125 experience. If I have 124, I know my monster is within the band between 4 and 5, and so we know they're at level 4. And based on that experience and how much we need to reach the next level, we can calculate all of that. And so as an example, this is just a very simple, the cubic function where you just have x cubed. And so whatever x is, it gets cubed and we can see our resulting value. And so as we can see, as our level increases, which would be the x-axis here, we can see the amount of experience we need starts to climb very, very fast in order to reach whatever threshold we're looking to reach. And so some of these lines represent a couple of the just example levels. And so this 125 here, this represents if our monster must be level 5, we need 125 experience. Versus if we come up here, our monster level will be 6, we need 216 total experience. And so this is what I was getting to at earlier. We know that if our monster has between 125 and 216 experience, we know that they're at level 5, but we can calculate how much experience they need until they reach this bar here to reach that level up. And it kind of just repeats in that pattern. So like if I want to be level 7, we need 343 experience. And then finally, if we want to be level 10, we would need 1,000 total experience to reach that threshold. And so in our monster's JSON file, we added in the field to keep track of our current experience. And with that, we can now figure out if they level up when we add new experience to it, just by adding to that cumulative gain. And so to go ahead and actually start working on our code, let's go ahead and jump over to our leveling utils. And the first thing we're going to do is let's add a new function. And this function is going to be responsible for telling us how much experience our monster needs to reach a certain level. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to export out a new function. And so at the top, let's do export, and we'll do function, and we're just going to call this total exp needed for level. And so for this, we're just going to expect one argument. It's just going to be the level that we want to know how much experience we need to reach that level. And so to calculate this, as we saw, we're just going to do our cubic function. And so all we really need to do is x cubed. So all we need to do is we need to return the level we provide, and we want to go ahead and cube it. So we'll do ** 3. So now we're going to go ahead and cube that value. So now whatever level we provide here, we will get the amount of experience we need to be at that level. So once again, like if we want to do target level 5, we would need 125 experience. If we want to do level 10, we need 1,000 experience. One slight change we're going to do to our function is we're going to have a max level capacity of 100. And so if we receive any value greater than 100, we're just going to go ahead and return that cap. And so we'll do if our level that we provide is greater than 100, then we just want to go ahead and return 100 cubed. And so we'll always return that value. So now with our new function, what we can do is update our other functions to figure out the values that we need to actually provide. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and start with our EXP needed for our next level. And so our EXP needed for our next level is going to be based on our monster's current level and how much EXP they have. And so in order to figure this out, we need to take their current level and add 1 to it. And we can go ahead and call our total EXP needed for level function here to get that amount of EXP we need. Then once we have that, we can just subtract our current experience to give us whatever value we need to reach that next level. And so what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just add a safety check as well. So if we are over a level 100, so we'll change this to current level. So if it is greater than or equal to 100, then we're going to go ahead and return 0. Because it's our max level, we don't need any more experience. Otherwise, we just want to go ahead and return our total EXP needed for our next level. We'll do our current level plus 1, and then we're going to go ahead and subtract our current experience to get that value. And so as an example, if our monster is at level 5 and they have 210 experience, if we call our function, we know we need 216, so we subtract our 210. We would need 6 more experience till we reach that level. All right, so for our calculate EXP bar current value function, what we need to do is we need to take our monster's current level and figure out how much experience they would have as the minimum value. Then for our max value on our EXP bar, that's going to be the amount of experience we need to reach the next level. So as an example, we would start at 125 if we were level 5. It would have a range up to 216. And so for our monster to reach that next level, we need 91 more experience points if they have none above 125. And so what this means is when we want to represent this visually to the player, what we're really saying is based on our current level, we need 0 out of 91 experience points for them to reach that next level. But let's say our monster currently had 135. If our monster currently had 135 experience points, really what they were saying is, hey, they have 10 out of the 91 experience points we need to reach that next level. And so this division here, this value, this is what is going to be presented in our EXP bar. So this will be our min, this will be our max, and then this value is going to be our current value we display to our player. And so to calculate this is actually pretty easy. All we need to do is figure out, hey, how much EXP do we need for our current level? How much EXP do we need for our next level? Figure out the difference, and then apply our current EXP to that. So what we'll do is we'll do current, we'll do const, we'll do EXP needed for current level. We're going to set that equal to our total EXP needed for level, and we'll pass in our current level. So this will be our minimum value. We'll do const, we'll do EXP for next level. And so this is just going to be our total EXP needed for level, and we'll take our current level, and we'll add 1. And now what we want to do is we want to take our monster's current experience and subtract the base that we needed to figure out how far we are on our progress. So example, we have this 135. We want to subtract our 125 to figure out we have 10 out of that 91. So we'll make a new variable for this. We'll do let current EXP bar. We'll do let current EXP for bar be equal to our current EXP minus our EXP needed for our current level. And so that would give us our 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a safeguard where if our current EXP for our bar is less than 0, then we want to go ahead and just reset it back to 0. Then that way our progress bar shows the correct value. So we'll do current EXP for bar. We'll just go ahead and hard code it 0. All right, so now what we just need to do is figure out this 91 value. So basically, we just need to take our EXP for our next level, our EXP min for our current level, subtract the 2. So let's make a new variable, do const. We'll do max EXP for bar. We're going to set that equal to our EXP for our next level. We'll subtract our EXP needed for our current level, and that'll give us that value. And now finally, we just need to go ahead and return our current EXP for bar divided by our max EXP for our bar. All right, and so this is going to give us our value that we need to display on our progress bar. All right, so for our next function, we're going to go ahead and work on calculated EXP gain for monsters. And so figuring out how much experience a monster will give us, what we're going to do is we're going to base this on one of the formulas that's used in the Pokemon games. Basically, it's a flat formula for figuring out the experience. And we're just going to do a modified version of this to keep it simple. Basically, how this formula works is our enemy monsters are going to be worth a certain amount of EXP. So in our JSON file, we originally added a property called base EXP. And so this is how much that monster is worth. And so certain monsters will be worth more, so we'll gain more experience. However, because to level up, we need more and more experience as we gain more and more levels, like as we see to go from level 5 to 6 to 7 to 10, the number starts growing exponentially. And so we can't just base the experience just solely on this base EXP. What we'll want to do is we'll want to take our monster's current level and apply that to this, so then that way we can scale this accordingly, so that way we should get the appropriate amount of experience. And so you can imagine for a player, it'd be very frustrating if all of our monsters always gave the same amount of experience, because as we level up, we would take more and more and more to reach the next level. And this would be expected if the player was fighting monsters lower level than them, but if they are higher level, we'd expect that gain to be that much more, because it'd be more of a challenge. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that base experience that we added, we're going to multiply it by the enemy monster's current level. So currently our enemy monsters are just going to be level 5. But later on, if they had a higher level, it'd be more experience. So as an example, we'd have 50 times level 5, so we'd have 350 experience. But we're not going to go ahead and leave it flat like that, because 350 experience is quite a bit for one monster gain. So what they do in the formula here is we just divide it by 7, and so then that way it modifies it accordingly. And so then the last thing we're going to do to the formula is, if it's our active monster, it makes sense to leave it as just our base times our level divided by 7. But if it's not an active enemy monster, what we'll want to do is we'll want to go ahead and cut that value in half. And so that's what this S represents here. It's if we're sharing the experience. And so if we are, we're going to go ahead and just multiply it by 0.5, and that way we get half of our value here. So if you are interested in learning more about the formulas and different things you can do in your game, I do recommend checking out Bulbapedia. They do a really great job of explaining the formulas and like how they're calculated. Like I said, for this series, we're going to keep it very simple. We're just going to do our base times our level, and we'll divide it by 7, just so you can see it's working. So now to go ahead and do this in our code, what we'll do is we'll come back to our leveling utils, and what we'll do is in our calculate EXP gain for monsters, we're just going to go ahead and return. We're going to do math, we'll do round, we'll go ahead and do our base EXP. We're going to go ahead and multiply that by the monster's current level, and we want that overall value, and we want to go ahead and divide it by 7. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap that. And then what we'll want to do with that is we're going to want to multiply that by 1, and we'll do divided by is active monster, and we're just doing our ternary, and so it'll be 1 if it is the active monster, otherwise it'll be 2. And now we want to go ahead and just complete our parentheses, and we'll go ahead and return that value. So all we're doing is we're just taking that base experience, multiplying by the current level divided by 7 like we discussed, and then we're multiplying it by either 1 over 1, so 1, if it is the active monster, or 1 over 2, so 0.5 if it's an inactive monster. Alright, so for our last function, it's going to be our handle monster gained experience. So here, basically what we want to do is take the amount of experience we just gained. We want to go ahead and update our monster's current XP to have that new XP. And now we need to check to see if they reached our threshold we needed for a level to be gained. And so what we'll go ahead and do is first let's go ahead and reset our stat changes all back to 0. Then that way we only update these if needed. All right, and then real quick, I'm going to go ahead and add in our types. So then that way we can reference our appropriate properties. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our monster, and gained experience is just going to be a number. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check our monster's current level. If it's already at a level 100, we don't need to do any of our checks, and so we'll go ahead and return early. So we'll go ahead and check our monster's current level. If our current level is greater than or equal to 100, then we want to go ahead and just return our stat changes. If it's not, then we want to go ahead and update our monster's current experience. And so what we'll do is we'll do our monster, we'll do our current EXP, and we'll do plus equals, and we'll do our gain experience. Now that we've updated our monster's experience points, what we need to do is start incrementing our level based on if they actually need to level up or not. And to do this, we're going to go ahead and do this in a do while loop. And the reason for that is that way we can gain one level at a time and update our stats accordingly. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do, and we'll do while, and we'll say gained, we'll do gained level. And so we need to go ahead and add that variable. So let's do let, we'll do gained level, and we'll go ahead and set that equal to false. And so another reason we did the do while is so then that way this function will go ahead and execute at least one time before we check again and go ahead and repeat it. If we were to do a while loop, we would never actually run. All right, so the first thing we'll do in our do while loop is let's go ahead and reset gain level back to false. And then that way we can now check to see if our monster levels up and update our stats. And if so, we'll go ahead and repeat this process until our monster's done leveling up. So to go ahead and do this, we need to figure out how much experience our monster needs to reach our next level. And so we'll do a new variable, do const, we'll do exp required for next level. And then we'll go ahead and set that equal to our total EXP needed for level. We'll take our monster's current level and we'll go ahead and add 1 to it. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do if, and we're going to check our monster's current experience. So monster current EXP, if it's greater than or equal to the EXP required for our next level, then we're going to go ahead and bump up our monster's levels. We'll do monster, we'll do current level, and we'll go ahead and do plus equals 1. So now what we'd want to do is this is where we'd actually go ahead and bump up our stats as well. So first, let's go ahead and do our stat change. So we'll do our stat changes, and we'll do our level, and we'll do plus equals 1 there. All right, and then so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and set gain level to be equal to true. So we'll go ahead and repeat this loop until we finish leveling up all the way. So now that we have our basic loop down, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and calculate how much health and attack our monster will actually gain for each level. And so for this, there's a variety of ways we could do this, but we're going to keep it pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to increase our attack and our health by a basic value. As an example, for each level, we'll bump our HP by 5, we'll bump our attack by 1. But this could kind of get a little bit boring for our players, and so there's other types of formulas we can do for this. What we're going to do is we're going to introduce some randomness. And what we're going to do is we're going to increment our attack not only by the base and increment our HP by the base, we'll also add in a bonus value. And so our bonus value is just going to be a random number between a min and a max we specify. And so what we're going to do for the time being is we're going to say, hey, for our attack, we have a possibility of incrementing it by 0 or 1, or for our health, a value between 0 to 3. And so to go ahead and do this, what we're going to do is we'll make a new variable, do const, we'll do bonus attack. We're going to set that equal to our phaser, our math, and we'll do between, and we're going to do a value between 0 and 1, since it's inclusive, and we'll do our bonus health. We'll set that equal to our phaser, our math, between, and we're going to go ahead and do 0 and 3. So now we need to go ahead and figure out how much HP and attack that actually increase. We'll do two variables. We'll do const. We'll do our HP increase. So we'll go ahead and do our base HP of 5, and we'll go ahead and add in our bonus HP, whatever we gain there. And we'll do the same thing for our attacks. We'll do attack increase will be equal to 1 plus our bonus attack. And now we just need to go ahead and bump our stat changes accordingly. And so we'll have stat changes. We'll go ahead and do our health first. So we'll do health plus equals our HP increase. And then we'll have stat changes, our attack plus equals our attack increase. All right, so now that we have all of our functions built out for our leveling utils, we should be able to go ahead and start testing our code. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to our monsters JSON file. I'm going to make sure our current monsters, current attack is 25, so we can quickly defeat monsters. And then real quick, I'm also going to go ahead and bump up the current level for all monsters, except for our monster, to be a higher level. Just so that way, when we defeat one, we should gain multiple levels for testing. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that change. We'll go ahead and bump our monsters back down to 5, and let's go ahead and save. Let's go ahead and jump over to our game. Let's go ahead and do new game. Let's start off in our monsters party scene. So we see our monster is level 5 like we expect, and our EXP shows we do have 125, and that matches what we needed. And we know that we need 91 experience to reach level 6. Perfect. So what we're going to go ahead and do is let's jump over to the grass, and let's go ahead and try to encounter a monster. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to save, so we have this restore point, and let's go ahead and see if we can battle a monster. All right, level 10, just like we set, perfect. So let's go ahead and knock out the enemy. All right. So we'll see now we gained experience. We gained 73 experience. All right, so we just want to double check if that's right. What we'll do is, so we fought Ignivolt. So we know Ignivolt here, level 10. If we multiply that by the base EXP of 51, then we'll go ahead and divide that by 7. We get 72.8. Perfect, so 73, that lines up. So we can see our EXP bar has now updated to show we've gained 73 experience. However, one thing to note, it looks like our EXP bar didn't actually animate all the way up to the value expected. So if we gained 73 and we know we need 91, it should have been 80% full, and it didn't look that way. So real quick, let's go into our monster details scene. All right, so this EXP bar looks how I expect it to be. We need 18 more experience to reach our next level, and so it should have been this full. So real quick, let's go ahead and try to enter a battle, and we can confirm what value it's currently at. Oh, but now we see our EXP is where we expect it to be. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is let's go ahead and just, we'll do a new game real quick, and we're just going to do a sanity check and make sure it animates properly. So I'm going to go ahead and save again. Let's go ahead and get into a battle. All right, yep, so we can see we gained 76, but we're only about halfway. So let's go ahead and jump over to our code, and let's take a look at what might be happening. All right, let's jump over to our player battle monster class. And we'll come down to our update monster. Yeah, so we still have a hard-coded 0.5. Okay, so now what we want to do is we just need to go ahead and have this match this code here where we calculate our EXP. And so we'll just go ahead and paste that line, and we'll go ahead, let's fix our comma. We'll go ahead and save. All right, so now let's do continue game. Let's go ahead and fight a monster, make sure everything works properly. All right, much better. Okay, so we're about 80% full. We have 76 experience. And so if we go into our monster details scene, we can see that, hey, we need 15 more experience to reach our next level. So now let's go ahead and get into one more battle and see if our monster levels up. All right, another Frost Saber. If we go ahead and defeat the monster, they faint. Oh, we go ahead and gain 76 more experience. Our EXP bar went down, and we went ahead and we went to level 6. All right, and we increased our attack by 2 and our health by 7. Oh, but our health bar did not update, so let's go ahead and take a look. So let's go ahead and go into our monsters. We have 20 out of 25, but we do have the right level. And our EXP bar reflects the experience that we need to reach our next level. All right, so we jump back to our code. Yes, so in our leveling utils, we didn't actually update our monsters' stat values. We just did the stat changes. So what we'll do is we just need to do our monster. Let's go ahead and do our max HP. We'll do plus equals our HP increase. And we'll do our monster, and we will do our current attack. And we'll do plus equals, and we'll do our attack increase. Now let's go ahead and jump over to our monsters JSON file, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bump up our monsters level to be much higher. So let's go ahead and we'll look for level 10, and let's go ahead and just bump this up to like level 40. So there should be a big jump when we battle. All right, so with our changes, let's go ahead and come back to our game. Let's do a new game. Let's go ahead and come up to the grass. We'll go ahead and save. Let's just validate the monster. So level 5, we have 25 HP, and we have the right experience. Nice. So let's go ahead and go into battle. All right, so we have a level 40. Let's go ahead and knock out the monster. All right. All right, so our EXP bar only filled up part way. Ideally, what we'd want it to do is fill up all the way, and then once we show we've leveled up, then we go ahead and update it again to go to the final value. But we can fix that later, but for the time being, we'll see we went up to level 7. We can see our HP did go up as well, so we can see we went up to level 7. Our attack increased by 3, and our health increased by 11. And let's go ahead and jump into our monster details. So in our party scene, we're level 7. We have our new max HP. And we can see in our experience that's been updated as well. All right, so real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reset our changes to our monsters JSON file. So then that way we have our initial values. I'll go ahead and reset our monster's current attack as well. All right, with that, that brings this video to an end. So as a reminder, there's a link in the description of the video to the complete source code for this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking the video and hitting the bell icon to be notified when the next video in the series is released. For more Great Phaser 3 content, please see the links on your screen now.